I want to go ahead and talk to you about the evening and weekend college and some other things that, based on restructuring, you probably know that the evening and weekend college itself, as far as the staff and the office, moved under advising, and then student life actually moved under Dean Stockey. But with that, we inherited certain tasks that we have to complete that are new to us. So anyways, the first thing I want to talk about is the evening and weekend college. So as I'm talking about it, I'll be flipping between evenings and then the weekends, okay? So we started with the evening and weekend college right in fall of 2015. That's when I have the most recent data, and I will go ahead and show you that data in a little bit. If you're not familiar with the evening and weekend college itself, the location of the office is in building 102, which is the library. If you're in front of the library, towards the left-hand side, there's a little door. Just go in there. And the office consists of 2 staff members, which is Shelly Anderson. She's an advisor. And then we have Richard Lewis, our clerk. And the office is open very conveniently for students in starting at 11:30 every day, Monday through Friday, until 8:30 in the evenings, and then also on Saturdays. So very convenient for the students. Why do we even worry about the evening and weekend college? Well, most of you know that we had evening courses forever, right? Yeah, everybody offered evening courses. Did we have weekend courses? No, not so much, right? The only course that I know of was one EMT course with 16 enrollments, and then there were a couple child development courses that we had prior to fall of 15. So what happened since then? Well, number one, what do we even talk about when we say evening course? There's always this discussion. Is it 6 o'clock? Is it 7:20? Well, it's 5 o'clock. And then I get the question, why doesn't my 4:30 course count? Well, I don't know, but it's 5 o'clock. I know, I tried several times, but it's 5 o'clock. I know, but it is 5 o'clock for now. And so Monday through Thursday, anything after 5 o'clock and after counts as an evening course. And then on weekends, anything on Friday starting at 11:30 a.m., and then Saturdays and Sundays, which we have not had Sunday courses, but there is some to think about if you're interested. So that would fall into the weekend courses. The challenge was to allow students to finish a program, an associate's degree, just by going either in the weekend, on the weekend or in the evenings. Some of the associate's degrees that students can finish actually on the weekends now are business, interdisciplinary studies, we have office technology certificates, we have computer science certificates, general studies, obviously, business administration, lots of different programs that they can actually enroll in. We also have developmental courses, most of all core courses, so great offerings. In the evenings, we always had our associates and certificates that students could participate and enroll in, complete, going in the evenings. So that was not anything new, really. So we kind of focused on the weekends. Okay, any questions so far? All right, so let's look at the number of courses that we're offering. And again, for right now, I just want to talk about fall 15 and after. And for this purpose, I just looked at the number of courses we offered within the last year, starting summer of 17. So in the evening, for summer 17, we offered 43 courses, and 27 of those made. What we normally consider a made course is a course that has 8 students or more. But there are also exceptions, like if it's a practicum, it's an internship or something like that, that course is also considered as a go because the students will need it. And if you have not submitted your little letter yet to the dean for this semester, go ahead and make sure for the low enrollment courses to submit it to her. For the fall, we're offering quite a few courses in the evenings. 91 courses were offered and 80 made, so that's really good. That's a great number. I mean, that's somewhere around 90%. So, and for the spring so far, and it looks a little gloom, only out of 96, 40 made. Again, when I looked at it this morning and I tried to get you the most current information, the 40 courses are based on 8 students. So we have another about week to register, so this number will definitely come up. And it could also be that those courses who have maybe 6 students enrolled, as long as we break even between the tuition that we're receiving and what we're paying for the instructor, then that course can also make. So do not consider a course that has 7 or 6 students automatically as a no-go. Run it through the dean's office, and maybe we can go ahead and have you offer that course. Okay? All right, we're good on that.
Kirsten.
Yes. Sure.
The person has
Do you want to reply to that one? Okay. I don't have a mic. Well, I could, let me go ahead and have her answer it.
Okay. Sorry, my hip is giving me problems, so I'm not moving as well. I believe it's the way in which the administration is counting the hours. The problem is that if a lot of courses make, and they're all low enrollment courses, there's a problem with people making their 6,000. So it's really up to the chair as to how they want to do that and how they want to distribute the low enrollment courses. But if they take away the larger numbers and spread them out to more instructors, nobody's going to make their hours. That's the problem, Ken.
What if it's not?
Well, I would think that if you have 5 courses at 8 versus 1 course at 40,
it will
and
not
you would have to pay each
Dr. Ady's
instructor.
scrutiny.
You would have to pay each instructor 5 instructors versus 1 instructor for 40. That's quite a difference. And
I think Will Heath can attest to the fact. Where's Will?
I'm right here.
Okay, then remember we were going over in Dr. Ady's office going over, and she said, how come there's 2 Spanish courses offered at approximately the same time and they both have low numbers in them? You remember that? And we had to explain why. I mean, she goes over all the enrollments after the classes are made, and she wants to see that they are consolidated in an appropriate way.
And I would like Dean Anderson to answer those type of questions just simply because I'm not in those meetings, so.
Yeah, these are in the budget meetings.
Yeah.
So do we now have an assumption that it's no longer 8 to make, but it's 25 or 30?
No. No, we need to assume that we want to fill the classes as much as we can, but then if you have another class that has 8, that's fine. If the other ones are all appropriate, at an appropriate number, like 24, 25.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm getting at. In order to accept 8, it sounds like there's another assumption out there.
Yeah, I think that's probably true, because that's what she looks for when she's going over the schedules in the budget meetings.
And I would think that there's a difference between online and then face-to-face, because if, for example, one of those evening courses at 6 o'clock has 8, you don't have another 4 or 5 of that same courses at the same time, versus online you can combine them.
Right, so if you had 35 in one class, you could have 20 and 15. Would that not be acceptable?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
If you had 20 some in all your classes, or 20 and 15 or whatever, and you made your 6,000, you could have a class of 7. As long as that class of 7 was generating more revenue than what you're paying the instructor, you can have that, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so on the weekend, summer of 17, we offered 50 courses coming from pretty much nothing. I thought that was really good, 50 courses. And I have to say, when I talk to the department chairs, when I talk to instructors, they're all excited about offering courses. It wasn't so much like, okay, I need you to offer this course. It was like, okay, what can we do? Which courses would you like us to offer? And my answer was pretty much, you tell me who you have available and see what they can offer at what time. We just really try to work with the instructors as much as possible, because we wanted to get a good pool of instructors available. And I mean, we have PE. I remember talking to Tina Holden the first time. I said, can we offer a PE? And she said, I don't know, do you think that's going to make it? And I said, until we try it. And they're very popular now, aren't they? Yeah, so actually we normally offer 2 of them, so it's just a matter of trying it out, okay? So for fall, 6431 made. Again, that was based on the 8. Now for spring, for this semester so far, we have 19 that made out of 62, but keep in mind, we start classes again, 20 of the 62 start in March, and then there are lots of them that have 6, 7 students enrolled right now, so there's great possibility for those courses to make, and we're still registering for the weekend courses for approximately another week and a half, 2 weeks. Yes.
One of the things I saw, I've taught weekend, and we used to have what we called a 3-week course, which was they met 3 Saturdays, but in reality, students only had 2 weeks to do the course, because it was the first Saturday to the second Saturday, and then the second Saturday to the third Saturday. So then we offered it as an 8-week course, but they still only met 3 times. But in talking to students, because they weren't enrolling, the understanding of some students is they think they have to meet all 8 Saturdays. So I think we need to be better about how we put in the verbiage so that they don't think they have to meet 8 to 4 every Saturday for 8 weeks.
And if you have that information that you want us to include, we can go ahead and do that. We just go ahead and put a little asterisk annotation on the bottom. That's not a big deal. So if that helps, I mean, anything we can do to bring up enrollments, we're all excited about it. Yes, ma'am. Too late.
Okay, the other thing is, and I think I brought this up before, I know that nobody's crazy about teaching Sundays, but maybe you can find some adjuncts who'd be willing to do it. But Sunday is a very popular time with Austin Community College. I know Christina Machura, who used to teach here. She has a full speech class every Sunday, because if it's a 3-hour course that meets for 3 hours a week, that's easy to do on a Sunday, and a lot of people want to knock something out on a Sunday. So we haven't done Sundays yet, but that is something to consider, that if it could be done, if it's like a short course with 3 hours a week, that could very easily be done on a Sunday afternoon, and there are people that don't have time on Monday through Saturday and might be willing to do that. So it's just an idea if you can get someone to teach that in that time slot.
Okay. So the next thing I want to look at is our enrollments. And don't look at the chart on top yet, but I just wanted to show you here for the weekend how the numbers increased. Basically from 166, that was fall of 15, we went to 4, and then 463. I mean, that is a really nice increase. And it's not just for the fall semester, but each semester it increased. Okay, so I'm kind of foreseeing that for this semester we will meet the 455, not possibly even exceeding it. All right, now the not so good news. The evening enrollments, as the weekend enrollments have increased, our evening enrollments have declined. Not saying that everybody is moving to the weekend. I cannot make that assumption. We were looking at some things, and I just talked to Ronnie Turner a little while ago. He had 8 HVAC courses that were offered in the evenings, and now they switched to self-paced, where students can go between 1 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the evening, which means half of them, maybe 2/3 of those, would go ahead and take courses prior to the 5 o'clock time frame, so we cannot count it. So just looking at the numbers is a little deceptive. I would say until we have, number one, final numbers for the semester. We're at 854 right now, but I'm also in the enrollment management committee, and we're looking at maybe calling the students. Well, we have done that with a lot of them already, and then actually pull out the students for the evenings and do the same thing with them and see how we can increase the evenings. It's not that we're not offering courses. It's not that we are not offering a variety of courses, but we need to see what happens to the students. Are they going during the day? Are they moving to the weekends? What is going on? Okay. So just wanted you to be aware of it. And then, if you have heard of the Degrees on the Go, has anybody heard of the Degrees on the Go? That was another initiative, Les. That was another initiative that came out from administration. We wanted to have an expedited weekend program in interdisciplinary studies and business administration where students could achieve an associate's degree within 16 months. So we set it up, and in order to achieve it, a student would have to take a 16-week online science course in addition to 2 8-week first part of the semester 8-week courses, and then followed by another 2 8-week. So for a total of 5 courses, very intense. We had quite a bit of interest, questions about it, but only one person signed up, and I believe that the reason for that is because they really have to lock into that program. The way we offer the courses, they're all on Saturdays, only on Central Campus. Fort Hood offers a Degrees on the Go in the evenings under General Studies, but the way they're set up is that they're all OBL courses with the exception of that one online course in science. 75% of the OBL is online, and the 25% is face-to-face in the classroom. Obviously, attendance is required, 25%. And you have to do your work at home, and you should be the one doing that work. You heard me say that, Dr. Bass. And because of the low number of students enrolling into the program, what we will do is have another look at it and see if we just should discontinue it. The reason why I think that might be the better route of going is because now I have instructors who could teach or would be willing to teach at different times. There's more flexibility at that time. I don't have to lock into, we have to offer speech at 12 o'clock. And social sciences, Tracy and Will, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. We have to have that course at that time. Last semester we had a speech instructor who wanted to teach at an earlier time, but I had to say, well, you can't compete with this required speech course, so kind of maybe teach something on Fridays. And she did, so that was good. So we didn't lose that, but it is just something else that came out of the evening and weekend college, but I'm thinking we have to relook at that. Okay, new and upcoming changes for the evening and weekend college, some of them very exciting. The Kate Center is open on Friday mornings now. They were always open on Monday through Thursday, but Lovey opened it up on Friday mornings, and they're doing great, right? Lovey? Okay. The Kate Center, Lovey, you want to talk about it for a second?
Technology Education Center, formerly the Skills Center.
Office Technology, formerly Skilled Center. Okay, Career and Technical Education Center. Monday through Thursdays? Open Exit Lab, okay, yes.
Career and Technology Education Center. Kate.
Okay. All right, any other questions about Kate? All right, then Ronnie again, Ronnie Turner, we will start the welding program Fridays and Saturdays. So students who would otherwise not be able to participate in the welding program, they can't make it during the week, can now come in Friday and Saturday, and he's starting it sometime before the spring semester. He's still doing the final hire, but it's up and coming. I've seen quite a bit of increase of courses that are offered on Friday mornings, even though it doesn't fall into the evening and weekend college. Yeah, it's all CTC, so let's just go ahead and offer the courses when we can, when we have instructors available, right? And as Dean Anderson said, opportunities for Sunday. If you know anybody or yourself would like to teach Sunday courses, that would be great. And finally, I just talked to Dr. Clark. She is hoping that we will have an VN program starting this fall in the evening. So lots of things coming up, very exciting. Any questions about the evening and weekend college suggestions? Yes?
Is there any?
Sorry. Thank you. Are you looking again at things like disability support services, getting them to have some assistance for us at night? Because at night I teach classes,
Okay,
but
good.
if I have a disabled student, I can't
point.
send them to disability support services when they can come to class because disability support services is closed, so I have to run.
We can talk to them to see if they're willing to maybe adjust their schedule a little bit and stay until maybe 6 or 7.
Because it becomes a problem for things like tests when they get time and a half.
Right.
Because with the night classes, I have no one else to
They only
send
have-
them to. I have to do it, and it kind of interferes with the rest of the class.
Right, unless they would be willing to turn it over to the evening and weekend advisor, but I'm not sure that they want to. So let me go ahead and talk to them and see if there's anything we can do specifically about DSS. Yeah. Okay, any other question, comments to evening and weekend? Yes, ma'am?
Courses. They start at 5, but they end when?
Most of them end at 7:20, but we have some going as long as 10 o'clock. The industrial technologies open until 10 o'clock. Yeah. So it's basically up to you. So if you're starting the LVM program and you cannot finish any sooner than 10 o'clock, then that's what we have to do. Yeah. All right.
Kirsten,
Yes, sir.
what support do we have for the weekend students in terms of registration and bookstore and other administrative support?
Well, we have the Shelley Anderson, the advisor, but as far as the bookstore is not open either. So I think that is something that we need to go ahead and talk to whoever is in charge of those areas. So we can talk to them about the DSS, bookstore, any other areas that you would think we would need. That is actually available on Saturdays through the evening and weekend. College and Building 102, Shelley Anderson. She's an advisor. She does degree plans. She does interpretation of TSI scores, course selection, whatever it is. She can go ahead and take care of that. The only thing she does not do is she does not give information on financial aid and VA, because that involves students' money, and we know how that is if it's wrong. We don't want to deal with that, so they have to actually go over to the VA financial aid to make sure that they get correct information. Okay. All right, we're good so far? All right, so a couple more things. Student life, as I mentioned, moved under Dean Stockey, and with that, some of the tasks that were previously handled through student life were moved under us. So the first one is coordination of the departments with departments for the schedule bulletin, the pretty little schedule bulletin that we all get for Central Campus. We're not entering the courses, we're not doing the desktop publishing on it, but what we do is we send this email out to the departments and say, hey, it is time for you to look at which courses you want to offer for the semester. Okay, and we do that far out, like 9 months, a year out. So I know you just love us when you get that email. So anyways, so we tell the departments when they need to start looking at offering the courses, talk to your instructors, see what we can do, and then we give them a date by when they have to send the information to the course schedulers who entered into the system, and then we'll let them know, hey, this is when we're downloading it. By then, hopefully all the courses are in the system, so when desktop publishing gets the courses and the spreadsheet, they can go ahead and put it in a nice, pretty little format, and then it just takes a little bit longer to get that finished up. If you're like me, I'm kind of thinking by the time I get that schedule bulletin in my hand, it's pretty much outdated, right? Courses have been added, courses have been deleted, rooms have changed, and so on. So if you look at it, I would always say, tell the students, look in Web Advisor. That's the most current information. What is there? Those are the courses that you can take. That's the most current information. Don't go to Building 152, because your class might have been moved to Building 103. So look at your schedule. Okay. Another thing that we're now doing is the room scheduling. Room scheduling by itself, if you're an external customer and you want to, for example, rent the Anderson Center, you have to go through facilities management. You have to go through Diane Melton, call them up. She does all the paperwork with external customers. However, if you as a CTC department, faculty member want to use this space, or you want to use a classroom for a one-time purpose, maybe you have a club that you need to meet with or whatnot, then you contact Student Life and they will go ahead and do the short-term assignment at the Anderson Campus Center. But our department now handles all the classroom assignments. So if social sciences needs a different classroom or an additional classroom, you have no ideas, you need a classroom with 60 students, and that's something that you do not have in your inventory, then you need to go ahead and call me or Beth, and we'll go ahead and see what we can find for you. Okay? So we took on all of that. And it's a lot of work. So new would be the ADAST or room scheduling software. That's something facilities management, student life, and us have worked on. So far, it's supposed to be implemented by fall of 18. Basically, what it does is, we always say when somebody presses the button, but basically, it's supposed to give us the most precise course room scheduling. So if somebody has a room that holds 40 students and only has 15 students as a cap, that person and that class would be moved somewhere else into a smaller classroom, and we hold the larger classrooms for other spaces. Does that make sense? Okay. At the same token, for that program to run well, because we all know we have preferred classrooms that we like to use, we need certain information, and I know that building coordinators received an inventory sheet they were supposed to fill out, and that went back to Mariceli Vargas to get information what is all in the classrooms, what type of chairs, what type of desks, and that kind of thing. But also a preference spreadsheet went to all the department chairs that we need you to fill out, because we need to know what rooms do you prefer? Why do you prefer them? Is it that you have, you know, whiteboards all around? I know math department, room 109, they have tons of them. Maybe I'm telling you a secret now. But anyways, so if there is rooms because of a certain need that you have, we need to know. So if you have not heard about that, get with your department chair so we can get that information back. We got it back from about 10 departments, but we need it from all of them. All right, caps and gowns. Thank you so much. When you were in last graduation, you know we have 2 graduations now. I know I was the one panicking, like, line up right, because administration didn't want to see extra, you know, faculty, like 10 extra ones on the left-hand side. And so anyways, I appreciate you lining up the way you did. It worked out perfectly. I really, really appreciate it. It looked good. We got lots of good feedback on that. And then the other thing that I want to mention is that now the cap and gowns, if you're signing out cap and gowns, well, the department signs out cap and gowns. If an instructor doesn't need them, they need to be returned to the bookstore. Or if you are using them during graduation, make sure to not only return them but sign them in, because they're sending them back to Herf Jones and we're getting a bill for a non-return cap and gown, even though you know you dropped it off, and we have to kind of work on that. But that was just something that just moved under us also, and that's why I'm bringing it up. All right. Any questions to any of this so far? And then the last thing that I just want to mention real quickly is we still handle all student issues that pertain to grades, faculty, and whatnot. Still goes through our office, so no worries on that. Yes?
I got a question, ma'am. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask this question since you're briefing this, but for the graduations, is it that difficult, those pamphlets you hand out to all the families and stuff, to break it down to the degrees the students actually have? You know, all it says is, for example, I have an average of 30 to 40 students per class. There's no way I can remember every student I've had. There's no way to go through there and say, hey, this kid just graduated to a Homeland Security degree. And same thing with the family members. They just go A, B, C, D. Wouldn't that be better for the families? I don't know if it's the appropriate time to do that. And the next thing is to inform the instructors of who is graduating with a certificate, or because I write letters of reference to all my students if I know they're graduating. And I want them to contact me, and I'm always writing letters for them for jobs and stuff. And it'd be nice to know, hey, these students are graduating the Homeland Security program or a certificate or an associate's at this coming up graduation. Now I know these names, and they're planning on coming to graduation because they've signed up. So what do I want to do? Because they're online, I'm going to make my way back to where they're standing around waiting, and I want to thank them for coming to our college and talk to them. But we don't get that opportunity because we're really never told, so you just kind of roll the dice and walk around. Maybe that's something we could change in the future, a little bit more hands-on with our students,
Yeah, we can
because they are our advertisements.
We can go
in the
ahead and make
future.
that suggestion to Dean Welch, who's over graduation, and she'll contact Barb Murillo, who actually is the one in charge of the pamphlet.
Yes, ma'am.
So we can go ahead and make that suggestion to them and see
Especially
if that
informing
works.
us who graduates, because I think it's, especially for the online students, I got them from all over the world, and I don't know if they've signed up to come, to go to graduation,
Yeah,
but
I think,
shaking their hand and thanking them, I think, is a big deal.
I think they can probably break that down, I would
Yes, ma'am.
think, and inform the departments, hey, have 2 or 3 students out of your area graduating, and these are the names. I would think
Yep.
we could do that.
All right, thank you. Yeah, well,
All right, any
Business
other
department.
questions, input? Did I use up my 30 minutes? No. Yes, ma'am.
Just very quick. You have two things here that it seems to me we spend a lot of money on, and the first is that schedule bulletin. And you're saying it's outdated by the time we get it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a better way to do that bulletin. Maybe what you want to do in that bulletin is have the beginning stuff, and then for the different classes, just simply direct them to the website.
And we actually tried that, and that one semester it was a disaster. Students did not like it. They were kind of in panic mode because they didn't have that piece of paper in their hand. Even if it was outdated, they just kind of freaked out. So we went back to scheduled bulletins.
Okay. Also on the graduation, we
Yes.
list all of those students who are graduating around the world, but really only a subset are walking. And it's sort of tying in with him, it would be nice to know who's actually walking, because then you can more easily pick out students whose names you remember and that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, we're taking down all the comments and make sure to address it. Okay. Yeah,
So I've
more on this?
So I've written all that down about graduation because I think those are really good ideas and really good points, and especially when you talk about it gives you the opportunity to go thank the students and talk to the parents. That's huge. So I'll pass that along to the administration. About the schedule bulletin, we think it's too expensive too, and we thought we could do without them. And like Kirsten said, that was a huge disaster. There were so many complaints. So then what we tried to do was cut down the schedule bulletin so it wasn't so big. We tried to cut things out of it. So then we left the map of the campus out. That was a huge disaster. Yeah, so we are still trying to see what needs to go in it and what needs to get out of it, because we're trying to cut the expense, but we can't do away with it because that didn't work either.
All right, on to the next. Okay. Do we have anybody else?
One more.
Yeah.
So, great points. I love the idea of having degrees awarded, broken down in the program. Does make it easier. One thing we tried to do in the Office Technology Department was recognize our graduating students by inviting them and their family members, anybody who was local or anybody who was going to come into town for graduation. We just wanted them to come over to the department, meet the instructors face to face if they had not already done so, and we wanted to put something in their hand, just a little small something, maybe a pen, to say thank you, we're so proud of you. One, we could see who those students are. Mm-hmm. Two, it was great advertisement, maybe that's not the right word, for family members and friends that they brought with them. Really very simple. And we were told no. And so I guess my question
I was just
is,
about to say, I think that was denied.
yeah, it was. But it was so very simple. But it goes along with knowing who the students are and that they're actually graduating.
Okay, so what I think we need the explanation of what both you and Ray just talked about why that's important, because I know that went to Dr. Ady and to Mr. Yiannopoulos, and they were like, well, why are they having a graduation when we already have a graduation? We have a big graduation that they can go to. And they were thinking expense, if there's food or whatever. So what they missed was the real reason that you wanted to have that, and that's what we need to communicate to them, and I think that will change.
A part of it.
I think they'll see that.
Yeah, and a part of it, not to belabor the point, but the great part of it is we are simply proud of them. That's it. We don't want anything.
Thank you.
We don't want to sell them anything. Well, if their friends and family want to come.
You're creating a relationship with the families and friends and the students, which is what we're supposed to be doing. So,
Jan.
Well, thank you.
Jan. She's still looking at Melissa. Hi. I just wanted to sort of dovetail on what she was saying. Marlene and Ms. Contract and I get reprimanded every graduation because I am going to go down and visit with my students. We get, every time we go down there, it's like, you are in the wrong place. You should not be down here. And I tell them, I am visiting with my students. It is a departmental tradition, and I'm not stopping now.
okay, I wasn't aware of that. Okay, so I'll talk about that too.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So that's my update for that. Moving on to the next. All right. So the next session is on early college, high school. We spent a lot of time on early college, high school. As you can imagine, we're in the third year of early college, high school. And we want to talk to you a little bit about our successes, our challenges, the concerns, opportunities. And the first one to talk to you is Janelle Deal, our guru of early college, high school. I don't know how else to say it.
Okay, thank you. So great things are happening with our early college high school program. We were able to increase our class size from 150 students per grade level to 350 students per grade level. Unfortunately, all spots are not filled, but 350 per grade level is our goal number. Enrollments for our fall 17 semester, where we had 1,290 enrollments. Spring semester, we currently have 1,300, a little over 1,300 in enrollments. Please keep in mind that only sophomores and juniors are in courses. Freshmen are not taking any CTC courses. Of course, there's always room for improvement, but so far our students are performing very well. They're excited to be here. Their parents are excited that they're here. We're excited to have them here. And for those that do not know, our freshmen and sophomores are at our Fort Hood campus of the early college high school, and our juniors and soon-to-be seniors will be here at our campus. So there's a few more successes that we have. The early college high school gradebook extract, that's going very well. We do not have to request spreadsheets, grades from instructors for progress reports and report cards. And as you know, we do have to request grades at least 6 times per semester. So myself or someone from my department, we're able to access your gradebook, extract the grades, and add it to the early college high school server. And departments and instructors have mostly been positive about having the students in their course. They share concerns with me if something arises so that I can share it with the ISD. They've also been able to provide just kind of feedback to help things run more efficiently. TEA does visit once a month to see how things are going. And so far, the ISD has met all of the benchmarks set forth by the state. So the school has reached exemplar status, so that's a great thing. A few of those benchmarks, I'll just kind of read a list that I have here. There's target populations, partnership agreements, leadership initiatives, curriculum support, academic rigor and readiness, and then they also have a school design as well as many other benchmarks, but so far they have met all of them. And because they have met them, we are able to continue with the program. So that's just a wonderful thing. Because courses do not start until January 16th, we've used the downtime to offer enrichment courses to our students. Some of those enrichment courses are study skills, how to apply to a university, stress management, learning styles. Many instructors volunteered, and we're excited to be a part of this new initiative that we've taken on. So far, things are just going great with the early college high school as far as the things that I've mentioned now, and we just look forward to adding more successes to our list. Are there any questions? No questions? Okay.
Okay. So as you can see, we had a whole lot of good to report. The enrichment courses, we got feedback back from the high school about what students thought about them. They loved them. You know, at first it was like, oh, do we really want to go to that? Do we really need it? But now it's like they love them. And so we have to see where we take that in the future. Again, we cannot say how the students are really trying hard. They are working hard on their TSIs. We have, now they're starting to take math next semester, well, not spring, but fall semester. And I believe with the exception of 15 of them, all of them have passed their math TSI already. So I think that's just awesome. And I know we're getting a lot of support from the math department, a lot of support from developmental studies to help those students to be successful. So we really, really appreciate each and every one of you who participates in the enrichment courses and makes this a success. Okay. Now with the successes, there are some challenges. Okay. Fortunately, all the challenges fit on one page, so that's a good thing. So the first thing I want to mention is that some students just don't want to be here. We, as parents, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but we want our kids to be successful, right? So we see a great opportunity. We know it's a great opportunity. We want to get our students in there. So a lot of times what the parents want doesn't match up with what the students want. So a lot of them are a little reluctant when they're here, and they'd rather not be. One thing that we have to keep in mind, these students are had to give up a lot. Any extracurricular activity, they're no longer participating. So if they were in the drama club at high school, if they were in middle school, if they were in any kind of a band or whatever they were doing, they cannot do that here as part of the early college high school. So keep that in mind. So they might get frustrated. They don't have this other social connection anymore. Their friends that they used to hang out with 24/7 are now at Ellison, at Shoemaker, wherever they are, but they're not with them. So that doesn't help if you're not wanting to be there to begin with. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that, number one, the students are really the students who fill out the survey, the essay, and we want to make sure, or the high school wants to make sure that these students are actually wanting to be there. Okay? Some students are too immature. They're not ready. It sounds good to be in the early college high school, but they're really not ready to put in the work, right? And one of the things that I have to mention with that, it is a lot of work. They're taking 4 courses, college level courses, CTC courses, at the same time. In addition to that, they're taking 4 high school courses. I don't know if I could do it. That's 8 courses. That just sounds overwhelming to me. I don't know. So they get frustrated, they get overwhelmed. I think most of us would be overwhelmed if we would have to take 8 courses. And we have parents telling us, you have to be successful, you have to do that, you're first generation, you know, you're the only one who can do this, we were not given the opportunity. It's a lot of pressure, and I can only imagine that pressure on somebody who's 15, 16, 17. It's just overwhelming. And then the same thing, we as instructors, and that's a good thing, we tell them you can do it, but sometimes they just don't believe in themselves. And we have to go and take the time, talk to them and let them know you can do it, and we're there to help you. Not saying that we'll water down our courses, but we're there to help you. We're there to motivate you. If you have questions, come and see us. We had issues with grade reporting. Sure, go ahead.
Hi, everybody, again. I did the stress management courses for the students, for the enrichment classes, and just gave them a small assessment about where their stress levels were. On the high end, it was 300 to demonstrate high stress. These kids were scoring 700, 800, 900 on that little assessment. A big piece of it was just being overwhelmed. The 4 classes here, the 4 classes at high school. And one of the things that I think we can do, Dean Anderson, is as much lead time as we can give them when changes have to occur, because that was a recurring theme. It's like sometimes we feel like we come to school and something has changed. And so in the midst of the parents wanting them to be here and they don't want to be, and some of them in the military and divorces and all those kinds of things. Yeah, I don't know, you're right, if we could function, if our stress level were above 700 on a continuous basis. And they're also, guys, not sleeping. I had 65 students. 5 of the 65 told me that they actually got about 8 hours of sleep. The rest of these kids are trying to function on 4 and 5 hours of sleep.
Okay, I thought that was important to know. And the other thing is that, you know, we have Coppers Cove students here taking 2 courses at a time, as opposed to being in an early college high school. And the Coppers Cove students are doing very, very well. Even though the early college high school students, I think they ended up panning out well. I mean, we had some people wash out of the program, but about midway through their courses, we were kind of panicking because we thought they were not doing well as a group. Well, while Coppers Cove was doing very well, and I think it's the difference in the workload, definitely. Okay.
That's okay. So the issues with grade reporting, Dean Anderson, we'll talk about that a little bit. You know, in high school, you have to have grade reports. You have to have, I don't know, all these different scores that are due at certain times, make sure you can play and whatnot. And we have to report those out at those dates too. So for us, it was a problem because we have, even if we have a Blackboard grade book, let's just say, we don't have a continuous grading system to where we can go ahead and report out. So we had to come up with something. And what we actually had was Web Advisor, and I'm thinking I'm stealing your thunder now. I'm gonna let her talk about it. But we had some serious issues. We had lots of meetings on it, so maybe there's a solution, and she will go ahead and mention that in a little bit. Also, we noticed that the traditional weighting of grades at the end of the course doesn't work well, what that means is that, yeah, hang on just one second. What that basically means is that if we only have 3 assignments, 3 exams during the course, and then the final paper is due at the end, that students think they're doing well, and then at the very end they're failing. We have seen that on some. Now, we had one example. It was obviously the student's fault, but you know, it just, we wanted to kind of see if there was something that we could do to maybe balance it out a little bit better, to give additional assignments, whatever we could possibly do with that. Just food for thought. Yes.
I just had a real quick question. Do the early college high school students do anything during the summer? Do they have any summer classes with us? Because that might be a way to alleviate some of the problem by shifting a couple of the college classes into the summer and requiring them to come during the summer. Okay.
You probably noticed the end of course schedule, the end of course exam schedule had to be adjusted. The reason for that was 8 o'clock, the students are not here. They come in at 9 o'clock, they have to leave by 4:30. So we found a way, actually Jenny Shotwell, back there, found a way to adjust it to where it did not change too much, but it worked for everybody. So this semester, the course schedule, exam schedule will change again, and we hope to have it out to you pretty soon. Pretty soon. This spring break?
We're on a different week than KIS.
I think it's next. It's this year. Yeah, it's next year. Yeah.
Are they changing it?
We will go ahead and adjust it. I'm not sure if they're adjusting to us or we're adjusting to them, but we have to make it work. Okay. All right. Then the only thing I want to say about the last one, there was one, maybe two, instructors, a little negative verbal interaction with students. So we want to make sure that we stay professional. We don't want to demean anybody, and I think that's in general. We always want to be professional. We want to be respectful, and that was the only other thing that, as far as our department got as feedback, and so we wanted to share it. All right, that was the challenges, and now it's up to the dean. Bring it home.
Okay, so you have to remember this is our first time through with early college high school. We're all pioneers. We're all on a big learning curve. I think we've learned a lot. We found a lot that didn't work. I think the faculty are the things that made it work. We had problems with grades, we had problems with timing, we had problems with a lot of things, but we just didn't know till we got there. We had no idea how to anticipate that. One example is on the pass rate for English 1301, because most courses that you get a D in, D is described in our catalog as unsatisfactorily passing. However, in English 1301, you have to get a 70, not a 60, to be able to go on to 1302. It's in the catalog, it's published in all our documents. The early college high school never asked about it. We didn't know they didn't know. I mean, basically, we never talked about it, they never asked about it, so they proceeded as if 60 was passing and tutoring and pushing their students, and then they were kind of in shock when they found out, oh my God, no, they don't get a 60, they have to get a 70. So what's going to happen with those students that failed 1301 is they're going to try, I think Dr. Heath is making a Friday class. That class in that situation will be cohorted. It will be only early college high school students, although it can have other students in it, because one of the rules for early college high school here is that they have to be commingled with regular students. But they're going to take 1301 this semester rather than going on to 1302. These are the people that didn't make the 70. They'll repeat the course. KISD will pay for it, but then they have to take 1302 in the summer, and their parents will have to pay. So whether their parents will want to pay or not is really up to them. If they don't catch up with their cohort, then they're going to be washed out of the program. So that's what the parents are going to be told, and they'll have to make a decision. I'm going to pay for that course and keep them in, or they're going to wash out. And I think most parents will probably decide it's worth the money to keep them in and to have them graduate with both the diploma and the associate's degree. We're finding that our biggest challenge, one of our biggest challenges, are the parents. We have tried hard to keep the parents off of you. And what we've tried to say, if a parent comes in or you get a call with a parent complaining, Yes, hold on just a minute. That we ask the instructors to send them to the chairs and the chairs to send them to us. We get a lot of direct calls. I have probably 20 little pink note papers on my desk right now on returning calls to parents. But what we found is that parents do really not all parents, but some of the parents really do not understand the concept of college. When we're talking to them on the phone, a lot of what they say is, but they're high school students. Yeah, but they're held to the same standards and considered college students while they're here. A lot of them that are on my desk right now want to negotiate a grade change. We don't negotiate grade changes. So, and we try to tell them, that is an academic decision that relies on the instructor. Unless there's some reason for me to investigate it, there's been some kind of aspect of unfairness or some injustice, I'm not going to get in the middle of that. But what we failed to do this time, and we know for next time, is while the early college high school was marketed, before the students ever signed up, we should have had a training session for parents laying out what's going to happen when your child is in this program. We didn't do that because we really didn't know everything. And because we weren't involved in the recruiting. The early college, the KISD did the recruiting. They went to the middle schools and recruited, and they talked to the parents, and they didn't know. They didn't know to market those kinds of things. That if your child comes into this program, they're going to be treated and they're going to be abiding by the rules like any other college student. We cannot lower our standards for high school students. There's no exceptions for high school students, and we have to maintain, my favorite word, rigor in our courses. We don't want to lower our standards. So this is something that we know to do next time. In fact, right now, we're talking about planning some kind of parent orientation. We did have a parent orientation after early college high school started to prepare students for all the paperwork that students needed to gather from the parents to register. That was a learning experience in itself, because we got there and there was a good percentage of parents that spoke no English whatsoever. And we were totally unprepared for that. We just didn't even think about that. So there we were, 20% of the room doesn't understand any of the instructions that all the admissions and registration people were giving. So it's just been a huge learning curve, and there's been a lot of last minute things. You're right. A lot of last minute changes, a lot of accommodations. I mean, we started the enrichment classes at the request of KISD, and we put them in rooms in 103, and the pipes burst. So then everybody had to be moved. I mean, this is like, it's just like an ongoing thing. I will tell you, just the enrichment classes is another full-time job to somebody. It's a lot. But we have a lot of concerns coming up, and so this is some of the things that I want to talk to you about. Disabilities is a major concern, because we have learned in the high school there are two types of disability cases. One of them is part of what's called IDEA, and I don't even remember what that stands for right now. Somebody may know in this room, but I don't remember. It's what? Individuals with Disabilities and Education Act. Okay. Yeah, it's a law. And then the other fall under 504 with ADA, right? Oh, okay. Well, I'm just telling you what I know, which is very little. I'm not an expert on this by any means, but it did come up with the high school that perhaps we needed to be offering the disability services as those accommodations are made at the high school under both IDEA and 504. We have investigated that. I think actually KISD even drafted something to go in our memorandum of understanding, but what we've discovered is that we are really not obligated to IDEA. We are obligated to those 504 students. And we're investigating that now as to what we need to do and what we don't need to do. My impression at this point, and it's not over, I mean, there's still research going on about it, is that the high school needs to be tracking students that are here to ensure that the full high school accommodations are provided. And what we don't provide, because we only provide 504 accommodations, the high school maybe is responsible for providing the rest, any more that need to be done. So, did you have a question? I'll stop at that point.
Some of these changes, do these apply to those of us already teaching dual credit? Are these changes going all the way across that board?
Yes.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah. I think there's some things that are special to early college, high school, but most of them apply to dual credit. The disabilities thing would apply to dual credit also. So that's something that we're having discussions on, and I think it's on my agenda to plan a meeting, calling KISD and CTC people together so we can come to a resolution as to what our processes are going to be. But the reason this has come up at this point is because there was a court case about it that concerned everybody. So we think we need to have a meeting of the minds and make sure that we're abiding by everything that we need to do legally. Another concern for us is, and as I brought up before, the grades of 69.5. And as I said, when I did talk to instructors about why at 69.5 you would not round up to 70, a lot of people said, I pulled every point I could possibly pull. I gave every extra credit assignment. I mean, when all is said and done, I can't give any more points, and that's what they got. That's a little bit of a problem for us right now because the WebAdvisor gradebook automatically rounds up on the half. So what would happen is a 69.5 on the KISD side will be a C, and on our side it would be a D. So now you got two different grades going on.
Actually,
the grade extraction, we were told, rounds up to the next number. Am I right? It does not? Oh, okay. I'm misinformed. Okay.
If you use it,
Okay. Do you want to speak to that, you all? I thought it was rounding up too. That was my impression. It's not rounding up, Janelle? Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind on that one then. I had the wrong information.
Off the board with him and with our regular students, how they would look at one screen and see a score, and then I put in a different score, like if it was like a 69.4 and it's I want to give a C, but it says D on one screen and C on another, and I got a flood of emails of students saying, I thought I got a C. You said I had a C because I communicate with my students, and like it says a D in WebAdvisor, and I'm like, you have to look at another screen. So I don't know what's going on there. The transcript screen, exactly. Right, exactly. But they're not looking there. They're looking at their numeric grade, which is where they're seeing a D. So that also happened with ECHS students.
This did not come from comments from students or parents. This is what I thought that IT told us was going to happen. So we misunderstood then, and Janelle, if it's not happening. That was what I thought Michael told us. No. Okay, well, we both misunderstood. Yes, Ken?
That it's rounding up on their side, not our side?
That the grade extraction system, I thought, rounded it up, but Janelle says it does not. So
on
if it does
either
not,
side. So there's no rounding up on CTC or KISD?
no.
Okay.
Is what, because Janelle is tracking the grades, so she would know. Both Kirsten and I misunderstood. So, Lisa?
The only issue out of 100 points, thank you, out of 100 points instead of using my weighted Blackboard gradebook. So I had to, when I moved manually moved grades over to the Web Advisor gradebook to be compliant, I had to make some adjustments because it was over a 100 base. So I had to explain to students, extra credit did not go into the Web Advisor gradebook. This is where I'm putting it, and make sure you understand your letter grade in Web Advisor. Forget everything else. The letter grade in Blackboard should match your letter grade in the Web Advisor, and forget everything else. And that was where maybe a point or two went off, that they couldn't figure out where it came from or why. So that was the issue.
So for me now, it's a non-problem because I was wrong. Okay. Okay, all right. So the next concern has to do with the fact that Ellucian, who owns Web Advisor, will not support the Web Advisor gradebook next year. They have very few schools that use it. We had no idea that was coming when we chose it, but now they're saying we won't support it. So what we're going to have to do is pick another way to do grades, and we have to have something that we can extrapolate the grades to KISD. Yes?
Can we just make like an E3 form when you just go in and submit the grades and hit launch and it goes? For Cove, you just send them an email with the grade? So, in case you didn't hear me, can we just keep this simple and make like an E-Tree form where they just say, submit the grade, and you go and you type for each of those students, you type a grade in there, you hit submit, and it's over. You know, for a Cove, you just email them the grade and it's done. It's not a complicated thing. Do they need like specific breakdowns?
I think it's way more complicated than it looks, actually, and I think E-Tree is way more complicated than it looks also.
Well, I mean, I just threw that out there as an example, but something simple. This is overly complicated.
Well, we never were crazy about Web Advisor Gradebook as a choice. I'll just say that. So, and we didn't even want a different one. But I think what we're exploring now is there's a lot of discussion. No decision's been made, but I think we are looking at Blackboard. The reason we could not do Blackboard to begin with is because you can't do the grade extrapolation without buying a piece called Blackboard Analytics that is $150,000 a year. But we now have a lot of departments that actually have a need for Blackboard Analytics. Stephanie LeGree-Roberts' area is in great need of that. Sharon Davis's area is in great need of that. So if we could coordinate everybody and everybody do their grades in Blackboard, we train the people that are just face-to-face to go in and how to do the grades in Blackboard. And then they can use Blackboard as an enhancement to their face-to-face classes if they haven't gotten the training on that. That, I hope, is the way we're going to go, but the decision has not been made. But it's leaning in that direction, I'll put it that way, right now.
Hello.
No. I don't remember exactly how much it cost, but I remember it was a real reasonable price. I remember when we looked at it, we thought, wow, that's like nothing. Yeah.
Excuse me, Dean Anderson, let me share something with the group pertaining to Copper's Cove. If you're dealing with a Copper's Cove student, like I've been dealing with Copper's Cove for the past 10 years, Ellison and Shoemaker High School for about 5 to 6 years here. Copper's Cove have a program called Skyward. They will come and download that software and put the program on your computer, and it's no problem. It is a very effective grading system. It has the progress reports and everything is generated through that program. So when I put those grades in from Copper's Cove is seeing exactly what we are seeing here at CTC. And there's not a problem. Also, their attendance roster runs through that as well.
Okay, the problem with Skyward and the problem with eSchool, because we could have used eSchool also from KISD, is it generates the exact grades to the school, but it was difficult to generate that into our systems for our own records.
But it's not a problem, man, because when it's time for me to send the grades through Web Advisor, the grades are already there. I just take them off Skyward. They're already calculated. and send them to whoever needs to get them here at Central Texas College. I have not had a problem in 10 years, so I'm not sure it was a problem.
Okay, we did look into that, but we can have that discussion after this meeting. I mean,
it's not a problem with me.
We can look into that again. So, okay.
I just had one comment. Blackboard, I don't mind using at the end of the course when I go transfer manually all the grades over and it calculates the final grade. But to do progress reports, I don't know how it's possible because we will have things that haven't even been put in yet. Assignment grades.
Well, that's why we've got IT and a bunch of people looking into it, because we haven't explored all aspects of it. I just know that it's being considered.
That was my concern. But I understand what you're saying is you're using, is it Skyward? Along the way for those progress reports, and then at the end, which CTC only needs the end grade, pulling those into the CTC system, that would probably be work.
I didn't follow you. That's what you were saying. Yeah, maybe that might work.
I like that idea better. Blackboard's going to be really tough.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't fully understand what you were saying, but that may work. That could work, maybe. So okay, we'll explore that. But can I talk to you after the meeting about Skyward, sir?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, so that's another concern. Probably the biggest concern that we have, as I try to wind this up, is the amount of students that we're going to have pouring into CTC this fall. We think we'll have 1,000 students from KISD on this campus, not to include those KISD students that were already taking dual enrollment before early college high school. That is between the early college high school enrollments with another class coming on at $350 per class. We will be getting the TBI students, the Texas Biotech Institute from Temple. We will have between 70 and 100 students from biotech, because KISD right now is having to pay out of district to Temple College for them to attend there. Because the ACGM withdrew all their biotechnical courses, the biotech there is now mostly core. So KISD is thinking, why should we pay out of district for those students when we can now send them to CTC? So we'll get 100 probably TBI students in addition to the early college high school. And then we have the STEM Academy students, which we're expecting 250 in the morning and 250 in the afternoon, taking core and STEM classes. So the problem is we don't have the numbers on STEM because the KISD doesn't have the numbers on STEM yet. So it's really hard for us to anticipate exactly who's going to qualify and get in. We do know that there were 800 some students that have taken and passed the TSI. We don't know if they will elect to take STEM or elect to take early college high school or elect not to take anything and to do any of the initiatives. So we don't really have any idea how to get specific about planning, but it's a problem for facilities, it's a problem for rooms, it's a problem for hiring teachers and having enough sections, and all we keep telling them over and over again is the sooner we have even approximate numbers, the sooner we can get ready so that everybody's not thrown into a crisis trying to accommodate. I think my understanding is we've been held as a standard for a lot of other early college high schools in the state. It's my understanding that we are one of the largest early college high schools, and I think we are one of the few, if not the only one, that commingles students with regular students. At other early college high schools, they have cohorted classes. So it's kind of a new model that everybody's looking at, and as Janelle said, so far we have an exemplar status, which is the highest you can get for early college high school, because we have TEA visit us once a month. Yeah, so it's good. It's good. So far, so good. It was very disappointing to early college high school that we had a lot of students wash out. Not a lot, but we had a percentage wash out. But it was unrealistic to think that every student is going to come here and make it in that grueling schedule and pass everything. So it's just a natural matriculation. I think they are getting used to that idea that there's going to be some school students that make it and some students that don't in early college high school. STEM students will not be held to the same standard as early college high school in terms of having to give up their activities on their high school campuses. They can be in band or whatever they want. They will not be taking a full schedule. They'll probably come here for 2 or 3 courses. Maybe 4 if they can squeeze it into a morning or an afternoon. But they'll have more flexibility about what STEM pathway they want to follow. There'll probably be people peeling off maybe into some certificates, and they have more flexibility in terms of how many credits they want to attempt. Okay, so I'm told that's my time. They're giving me the big. Okay. So the only other thing that I want to say, I want to make a couple of announcements before we break for lunch. First of all, do we have a TCCTA rep? Oh, so Ken, could we use Faculty Senate to find a rep for us? Because I did want to remind everybody that the TCCTA conference is in Frisco, and it's March 2nd and 3rd. So if you plan to go, you need to start getting travel paperwork ready to go, and I hope you do attend. I'm sure.
Was ready for it because when we.
Oh, and it's ready. Is it ready?
I'm hoping it's ready now.
Okay, I can check on that. Okay, so when we come back from lunch, you're going to be in your breakout sections, and I will say that in the online training section, remember you're going to be in building 121, computer science, room 209. There were 66 seats and 56 people have signed up. In the task stream, you're going to be in building 121, computer science, room 211, and there were 32 seats and 31 people have signed up. Mostly chairs, which that's what I thought. And then the remaining people, 32 and more, signed to come to the working groups, which is a real nice number. So we'll be able to divide into 5 groups of about 6, maybe 6 or 7 people each. So that's good. Any questions for me before we break for lunch? And thank you for attending, and I hope you enjoy your breakout sessions and you have a great semester.